Hey guys, welcome to the Mermaid Mama, and today I'm going to do part 1 of the Simplicity Parenting series. So if you guys don't know, I have a 5-year-old son called Romeo, who we are homeschooling in the unschooling style, and 7-week-old Ocean, who's here, fast asleep. Seriously, she's in this ring sling. If you have a young baby or a toddler, these slings are incredible. They're so easy to take on and off. I found them a lot easier than the baby wraps, and they're wonderful. She just falls asleep in it straight away. If she's ever a little bit unsettled or a little bit overtired, I just pop her in here and she's so happy, and I can get housework done and work done, and she's just content and on me and comfortable, and I can see her. They're amazing, guys. I'm going to do a separate video on baby wearing, so yeah, I'll do a whole topic on that. So let's talk about Simplicity Parenting. So it's a book, really amazing book, written by Kim John Payne, and it is about using the extraordinary power of less to raise calmer, happier and more secure kids. And highly recommend it. It's incredible. If you feel overwhelmed as a parent, then this is really, really wonderful. So today I'm going to focus specifically on the first part of the book, which is about decluttering children's belongings. Decluttering it, and how it's so beneficial to have less for your children, less stuff. So for those that don't know, I would definitely consider myself to be a fairly extreme minimalist. I'm so passionate about minimalism. I love owning very little. It makes me feel incredible. It makes it possible for me to live the lifestyle that I want to live, and I absolutely love it. It's so freeing, and this definitely feeds into how we parent our children as well. And recently I've been really overwhelmed by how much stuff we have for Romeo, and what I find is that he pulls all of his toys out pretty much on a daily basis. He'll pull everything out, and then he'll only play with about 20% of what's there, and it ends up going all over the house, and it creates mental clutter for me. And at the end of the day, when we have cleanup time, which is usually just before dinner, we clean up all the toys and put them away so that we can enjoy the evening and get ready for bed without all of his toys everywhere. I was finding that it was too much for him to clean up all of his toys, and I was getting overwhelmed by it, and it was becoming really overwhelming. And like I said, he also was not playing with a lot of those things. He would play with the same set of things, and it got to the point where I realized that we had accumulated too much for him, and we really needed to downsize. And so I sat down one night and I got out all of his toys and books and, you know, outdoor equipment, and I put it into a pile on the floor, and I was really surprised at just how much was there. I don't think I took a photo. I might have taken a photo. If I've taken a photo of it, I'll put it here. And so I basically, everything in the pile, and what I did was that I created 2 piles. I created a pile of stuff that I thought was the best stuff for him to keep, the stuff that he plays with all the time, the stuff that's really nurturing for him, that's going to encourage imaginative play, create space for him to explore and just create. And then the stuff that was getting in the way of that and was just clutter, it was just stuff. And I put all the stuff, the clutter, I put that up into the closet, the top part of the closet in the wardrobe where his toys are kept in the lounge, because we co-sleep in the same bedroom. And the other stuff I put down where he can access it easily. So at the bottom was a skateboard and his scooter, because we currently don't have anywhere else to put it, and he uses those all the time. His Duplo, which he absolutely loves. Duplo is a bigger version of Lego. His pens and paper tape and scissors, a few books, and his torch, and he has 4 soft toys that are his absolute favorite ones, and they live in the bedroom. That was pretty much it. He also has an ongoing collection of sticks and stones and shells, and we keep those on the veranda, and that's just, he plays with those a lot as well, and he has a little basket that we store those in, and those are just things that he brings home from whenever we go outside, which is pretty much every single day, and he absolutely loves playing with those things, and he turns them into a lot of other things as well. You know, sticks become swords, and he's turned them into little people and things like that before. I have this great photo of him playing with a coconut that he found at a beach about a week ago, and he drew a face on it with a vivid and carried it around with him everywhere, and it became his little companion. So kids will play with whatever they find in nature. So what I found, so I did that about 2 weeks ago, the decluttering, and what I found is that he doesn't really care about the stuff that's up there. He's asked for a couple of books, the clothing for his dolly, and his torch, which was up there. That's it. Everything else that's up there, he has not asked for, he hasn't missed, and if he has not played with that in 2 weeks, and remember that we're unschooling him, so we're either outside in nature or going to, you know, classes at places like the library, or we're at home, so we're at home a lot. And if he hasn't asked for those things in the space of 2 weeks at all, then I feel like he doesn't really need those items. They are just creating and causing clutter. So this is definitely the most extreme downsize that I've done. I did another one last year, and I found that it was incredible. He seemed happier and lighter afterwards. It was really easy for him to put away his toys at the end of the day, which is something that's a valuable thing for me because I am a bit of a neat freak, and so having a clear space is really, really important for me. And I found that the toys that he had left over were really nurturing for him, and he became more imaginative and creative with his play, which he was already, but it really exacerbated that in the most positive way. So I think this downsize will do it again. And one of the reasons why the stuff has accumulated is because he does get stuff, you know, children get stuff given to them all the time, and they do tend to accumulate stuff. So it is one of those things that you might want to continue doing. You might want to continue downsizing and decluttering their stuff. So maybe do it, say, every 3 months, so that it doesn't get to the point where there's too much there. So let's talk about some of the things that I've found to be really, really helpful in decluttering your children's stuff, and why it's so important to get rid of all the clutter. So figure out why. Why do you want to declutter? Do you want to have more time as a family? Do you want to spend less money on their toys? Do you want to create a more nurturing space for them? Do you want it to be tidier in your house and not trip up on toys all the time? Figure out why, your motivation why, and that will help you keep going when it gets a little bit tough. Do the decluttering without your children there if you have young children. By the way, if I'm looking down, it's because I have notes on my phone so that I don't get distracted, which I have a tendency to do, and my brain's not completely with it at the moment because I'm tired because I have a 7-week-old. So I found that there are some things that I can declutter with Romeo now, like his clothing and some of his toys, but largely he wants to keep everything. And so decluttering with him is generally not very productive. And I think you know what's best as a parent for them when they're younger as far as which toys are going to be nurturing. So if you focus on the things that are going to be nurturing for them as a human being, then it's a lot easier to declutter their belongings. And obviously, you know, the stuff that they're really super attached to, there'll be a few toys, a handful of toys that they're super attached to, and you'll know those ones, you know, favorite soft toy. So obviously don't get rid of those items. And the other thing is, I would personally recommend donating the stuff without them as well, because I've found in the past that if Romeo sees me donating stuff, he gets really, really upset about it. So, and these are items that he has not noticed missing from his toy collection for you know, up to 1 or 2 months. So, but as soon as they see them, it can be really difficult to let go of that stuff, and I find the same. So it's best to do that without them there. Create space for really fun activities with your children while you're decluttering, to show them why it's a payoff for them, why they are going to benefit from this. They will have more time with you. Children are social beings just like us. They want human contact. That's largely what they want. They want relationships. That's what we want. That's what we crave for as adults, right? We want really amazing relationships with the people that are closest to us, and children are no different. And when we look at a lot of the things that we offer children to kind of keep them entertained, if we can strip that away and give them more time with other people, with children, with other adults, with us obviously as their parents, then they generally are a lot happier. I'd highly recommend you obviously read the book. It's amazing. I highly recommend it. And the other thing is, don't keep things. Don't necessarily feel like you have to keep things because they are educational. From this I mean things like flashcards, educational board games, educational books. They might be branded or labeled educational, but remember that children can learn in any environment. They can learn by going to the supermarket and counting up how many avocados you're purchasing and how much that's going to cost and how much you have to spend, and deducting that. They can learn from that. They can learn by writing their name in the sand at the beach. They do not have to be sitting down in a classroom in order to learn. Don't be afraid to go extreme. As I have found in the past, is that when I have done enormous declutters, Romeo has not missed the stuff that I've gotten rid of. What he does miss is when there is so much stuff to manage that we spend too much time cleaning up and not enough time playing, and that is what he misses. He misses that time playing, spending time together as a family, spending time with people that he enjoys the company of. That is what they miss, and that is what they crave. So really, really focus on what they're going to gain out of it, rather than what you're getting rid of and what they what they might be missing out on by not having all of this stuff. The other thing I wanted to talk about briefly is the continuum concept, which is a book. I haven't read the book yet, but I am currently doing an online parenting course called the Clean Parenting course. I can link it in the description below if anyone is interested. You do have to pay for it, just a heads up, so it's not a free course. But the Clean Parenting course is based on the continuum concept, which is a book written by a woman who went and spent time with an indigenous tribe and found that the way that the tribe functioned was so healthy, so simple, so uncomplicated, and everyone's needs were being met. Everyone's, including the children and the babies, and they functioned so well as a tribe. And she compared it to the way that we largely function in the Western society, and she found that from her personal point of view, that the tribe was a lot more functional in the way that everyone's needs were being met. Everyone's needs, and I will say everyone's needs, not necessarily everyone's wants. And so she wrote a book about it, and the Clean Parenting course is based on this. So it has a series of... She makes so many little cute grunting noises. So it has basically kind of a structured list of the values of this course that you're aiming for and what you're working towards as a family, to live with more ease, to have a simpler life that's filled with more things that you love doing, and to basically release the battles and the issues that that you have as a parent, whatever that is for your individual parenting or your individual children. And one of the things that they talk about in the continuum concept and in the clean parenting course is the idea of how much stuff we have for our children now compared to what children have owned in the past, the few thousands of years that we've existed as humans. And largely up until maybe 50 years ago, maybe 100 at the most, but definitely in the last 50 to 60 years, the amount of stuff that children have owned, that we've given children, has hugely expanded. It's multiplied so much. The average amount of stuff that children own now is enormous. And what she talks about in this program is the idea that we need to have realistic expectations for our children. So expecting our children to manage and keep organized and tidy an enormous amount of stuff, or even just too much for that age of that child or that particular child, is having an unrealistic expectation. And realistically, you want them to just have a handful of items. Or my personal rule of thumb is that if Romeo can clean up all of his toys by himself without feeling overwhelmed or stressed, then that's the right amount of stuff. So we want him to own only what he can easily, with ease, manage and clean up and take care of by himself. Anything beyond that is too much, and at the moment what he owns is far beyond that, which is why I'm doing this declutter. So that's another book. I'm definitely going to read it. Let me know, comment below if you have read it or if you've heard about it. Oh, just bumped the camera, sorry guys. And yeah, just let me know your thoughts. And the last thing that I'll talk about to wrap this video up is the idea that think about their relationship with stuff. I know I have always been very, very, very attached to stuff, and it basically got us into enormous amounts of debt as I got older, as I became an adult. And it also, I became very addicted to shopping. I just became very addicted to accumulating stuff, and instead of saving money, I would spend every dollar that I had. And this really impacted me negatively, and I now don't own any of the stuff that got me into debt, but there is still some of that debt left. And so it's something to consider, is what sort of relationship you have with stuff as an adult is basically what you learn as a child. And so the environment that you want to create for your children is one where you can acknowledge that stuff is not the most important thing. It is not the most important thing. What we really want to focus on is relationships and being able to choose how you spend your time. And accumulating a lot of stuff and being in debt absolutely gets in the way of that. And I don't want Romeo to have to learn the hard way like I did. I want him to be able to spend his time in the way that he desires and not be so attached to stuff that it basically becomes the forefront of his life and his spending habits. And when I look at how he spends time in nature, he just absolutely thrives. Being in nature and being with other people, being in kind of like a tribe environment for Romeo is the most valuable things to him. Is extremely social. He's a very, very social child, so spending time with other people is extremely important to him. So what we largely do with him is that we go to events where he can be creative and explore and play with other children, spend time with other children and other adults as well. Things like craft classes, sessions at the library. And last night we went to a mud festival. It was amazing.
What you making?
Very, very easy letters. And also, when you big round of applause for Nature Play Queensland for putting on this awesome.
And time outside, exploring in nature. And what we find is that when we strip back and scale back what we bring with us when we leave the house and we go to these places. What he does is he creates toys out of his environment. He turns coconuts into little friends, and he draws in the sand, and he plays with stick. He turns sticks into swords and all sorts of things. He plays with flowers. He makes stuff. He paints on shells, and he draws on stones and makes artwork out of them. And he just makes do with what we have, what he has around him, and he does the same at home. And so when you think about all this excess stuff that they have, I think that's really getting in the way of this creative play, this explorative play. And from the parent's point of view, if it's also causing mental clutter and stress for the adult, then why do we own it? Why do we have so much stuff? So that's just something to think about. I hope this was helpful. I'm going to do a series of these videos focused on based on the Simplicity Parenting book, and also what I'm learning as I am going in this clean parenting course, which is incredible. So I hope that was helpful, guys. Have a great day. Thank you for watching, and I love you guys.